appointed Chief Registrar of Judiciary, and Atieno Amadi. A very good evening, and thank you for joining us on Citizen Live at 9.
Thank you, Mike.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, you're coming into an office that is very powerful but very troubled, given the things that have been going on in that office. And perhaps one of the questions that we kick off with is, what is your vision? What do you think you will do differently from your predecessor?
Well, my vision for the judiciary is aligned to the core business of the judiciary, which really is to dispense justice to the citizens of Kenya. And so my vision basically is to have a judiciary that is accessible, that's available to everybody, that is affordable, and that has the resources and the facilities to help those that dispense that justice to do their work in a manner that inspires confidence and in a way that meets the very high expectations of Kenyans. Yeah.
And you're coming into this office at a time where it has been said of a clique or a cartel, if you may, in the same judiciary. I mean, you have been in the judiciary for the longest ever. And, of course, you have seen these kind of cliques and the people who build up cocoons in the judiciary. And maybe some of them will be thinking that you owe them maybe a debt of gratitude. Or how are you going to deal with this? How are you going to deal with the kind of pressure that they may bring to you?
Well, I actually left the judiciary in 1997. So I haven't been working in the judiciary all along. But I've interacted very closely with the judiciary. And as you know, I'm just 3 days old in the judiciary. I cannot really say that there is a cartel existing because I don't know yet. But if there is, I think the issue is about systems and structures, because when systems are, if there are weaknesses in the system, then it is possible to take advantage of those weaknesses. So my view would be just to strengthen systems and structures so that then when procedures are clear and processes are clear, then it's more difficult to take advantage or to undermine the processes within the judiciary.
Yes. And speaking of systems, during your swearing in, the Chief Justice talked about corruption and, how widely it has spread in the judiciary and how some people, are involved deeply into matters of corruption. How will you deal with corruption, which is a thorn in the flesh of the judiciary?
Yeah, the issue of corruption is really a critical issue. It's something that should not be tolerated at all. And we'll be looking towards the competent institutions that have been given the mandate to deal with corruption to help us in creating the structures to deal with corruption. And knowing that it's something that is more societal than just something that is restricted to the judiciary. I think it's also up to members of the public to cooperate with the judiciary to help us identify who the corrupt individuals might be, because I know that even within the judiciary we have the larger number of judicial officers, judges and magistrates are people who are really hardworking and people of integrity, but then it's only the members of the public that can help us identify the elements that might be tarnishing the name of the judiciary. And of course, law enforcement is very critical, so that if there is anybody that is found to be participating in corrupt practices, then the full force of the law should be applied to serve as an example to others.
And staying with matters of corruption, some have said that the reason why corruption is so rampant within the judiciary is because of the way they're paid, is because of the kind of expenditures that are happening out there. Lately, there has been some expenditure issues going on in the judiciary. How will you handle the finances?
In the judiciary, the best way to handle finances basically is to strictly follow the government regulations and procedures as far as finances are concerned, because the law is very clear, whether we're talking about procurement, whether we're talking about remittances to different places. It's a matter of just doing what the law says you can do and avoiding taking shortcuts, because there is really no shortcut when it comes to accounting, for example. And I don't want to believe that judicial officers are poorly paid, particularly the magistracy. When I worked in the judiciary many years ago, it was really pathetic. But right now, I think what the judiciary pays the magistrates is quite comparable to institutions that are said to be paying their employees well.
Yes.
Judges have a very heavy responsibility. They work really hard, and I think we need a judiciary where that recognition is given to the hard work that goes into, their daily responsibility. I'd like to see a judiciary where judges are awarded fairly, because if you compare the amount of work that they do, the kind of responsibilities that they hold in terms of dispensing justice, interpreting the constitution, dealing with intergovernmental relations, I think that it is something that ought to be looked into, and that of course means finding the resources.
Yes.
How do we do that? We are looking at a situation where we are working well with the Treasury, with the relevant parliamentary committees, and we're sure that they will recognize that the public that we serve requires to be served well, and therefore to avail the resources that are required for us to be able to discharge that function.
Yes.
Apart from the public funds from the government, of course, we are also reaching out to development partners to bridge the funding gaps that we might have within the judiciary, just to make sure that we're able to meet the financial obligations of the institution.
Well, you spoke about using the resources that you have, and lately we have been seeing the Court of Appeal where judges are saying they cannot stay at Ledana House, where they're saying there could be radiation. How do you deal with this? Because this is an infrastructure that is there, very well built, very well built with everything, state of the art, yet they're saying they cannot work in there.
What I know is that there's some investigations that are being carried out, especially regarding the issues of radiation. And based on the reports that come out of those investigations, then we'll be able to know, because there will be recommendations made as to the next steps. But without that, then it's not easy to tell what's going to happen.
Yes.
But we will go by what is recommended.
You are accountable to the people of Kenya with the kind of the work that you're taking up, also to the Chief Justice, to the executive arm, and to the August House. But of late, the August House and the Judiciary have not been seeing eye to eye. Do you have a worked out plan where you will bring these two together, because they have to work together at the end of it all?
Indeed, because we both serve the same public.
Yes.
The Parliament does not serve a different public from the Judiciary. So it's about focusing on who are we looking out for in the middle of all this. The fact that there is tension or some differences in opinion between the two respective institutions, for me really is a sign of just democracy, where everybody feels they're able to articulate what they think their issues are. And that is common where there is a transition. We're 3 years into implementing the new constitution.
Yes.
And everybody is looking for their space, so to speak. But eventually what happens is that I'm sure we will find a middle ground and just focus on the people that we're supposed to be serving and do the right thing.
Yes. And finally, we have 6 members of the JSC who there's a case in court where the president say that these people should face the sack, but at least the case has gone back to court. What happens if they are sacked? Will this bring down the level of how you work? Will it tamper with how you work with the judiciary?
Well, as you rightly point out, the matter is in court, so we don't know what the outcome is going to be, and we also do not want to speculate on the likely outcome. But in terms of the judicial functions, I don't see it affecting, because the courts will continue to operate, the judges, magistrates will continue to hear the cases. I don't see it like hampering the process of dispensing justice to Kenyans, and we're hoping that obviously the outcome of the case will give us a clearer direction.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Anne Atieno Amadi. We really do appreciate you coming over to Citizen Live at 9, and congratulations once again.
Thank you.
As you take up the office. Indeed, you're watching Citizen Live at 9. We take a short break, and still ahead.